Hey everyone, this is Karthik. Thanks for joining the webinar. Yeah, I have Nash and Sindel with me. And Nash, we can get started. Nash.
All right, great. Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for taking out some time and putting it on your schedule to learn a little bit about Drupal migration to Drupal 9 and some of the expectations during that journey. I'll give you a very brief background on who we are, because this is not about us. This is really about what the journey is to get to Drupal 9. First, Drupal Partners is a division of Enopal, and Enopal is a company that was started here in Atlanta, Georgia in 2009. So we're about 12 years old. We've been doing Drupal, working with Drupal really from day one. We've been going to Drupal cons here in the US. I just attended DrupalCon in Prague this past fall, and that was super exciting to see all the progress that Drupal has made and the exciting news of what's coming in 9 and then even 10. So we're been in this space for many years, and we've been talking to all types of different customers. We've got customers in the industrial space, in the media space, in college and education space. We see Drupal as a great platform for folks in numerous industries. And it's quite exciting what's coming down the road. We're going to kind of talk to you a little bit about a lot of things today. You'll get a little bit of update on how data security is being addressed and how headless is being addressed, accessibility is being addressed. And as a company, we've worked in all of these areas. We have, as you see on the screen, quite a few Drupal developers in our team and partners in our team. And we've done numerous migrations from other platforms or just migrations from one version to the next. That's a little bit about us. Let's see the next slide, please.
Thanks,
so
Nash.
I think, Karthik, you'll talk to us a little bit about the history of how Drupal has progressed from in the past few years.
Great. Thanks, Nash. Hey everyone, this is Karthik. I'm one of the solution architects with Drupal Partners, and I just wanted to set a stage here. So this is more of a journey to Drupal 9 migration. We are going to discuss about the technical things that we need to do for Drupal 9 migration, the preparations for migrating to Drupal 9, and what you can expect after you move to Drupal 9. And so we are recording this meeting, and we are going to share this content or the presentation to all the attendees of this meeting after this call. And in case if you have any questions in the middle, like if you wanted to chat with us, you can put your questions on the chat. We have muted all the audiences, so you can go ahead and put your questions, and we'll be able to answer your questions technically. And having said that, there is another gentleman who has joined here, Sendil, who is our delivery manager on Drupal. So I'll pass it on to Sendil to take it over from here.
Great. Thank you, Karthik, and thank you, Nash, for giving the introduction about Drupal Partners. And thank you, Karthik, for giving about the context of the discussion. So to begin with, I believe we have a lot of people like who are currently holding the Drupal website. To just give them a high-level idea, basically how the Drupal evolved. It's evolved on 2001, and it was a small college project where Dries is trying to come up with some solution to have an interaction between their own team. And after completing his degree, where he posted that as a drop.org, and because of one small overlooking, we got the name of a Drupal. Basically, that's a Dutch name with the meaning of a droplet, water droplet. That's still they're maintaining as their logo. And all this journey, where if you look into Drupal, it started as a small project and evolved as one of the enterprise content management system with a lot of functions and features throughout the journey of all these 20 years down the line, where we have given the high-level years on which were very important Drupal versions got released. I can say like the 2008 was a very important year for Drupal, where Drupal 4 as well Drupal 6 was released on the year. Till date, Drupal 6 was a very great and successful version for Drupal with an extended features and more stable releases being done on Drupal 6. Followed with currently we are in the year where Drupal 9 got released, and we are marching towards migrating our websites from Drupal 6, 7, 8, a lot of various versions. And if you look into Drupal, one of the finest feature is its modular structure. Basically, from the core, it's created as a modular focused content management system, because of which even the Drupal will communicate from the presentation layer, from the front interface to its core via APIs. It was one of the very important and biggest feature. It helps when other third-party contributed module developers like try to make use of Drupal platform to extend the features without disturbing the core. That's one of the very important feature that when we look into Drupal. Yes, Karthik, can you please get into the next slide? Great. So as I said, the 2008 where Drupal 6 launched, till that moment, Drupal was being one another CMS, and only when it's been recognized by White House official website on 2009, where a lot of hype started getting or coming up through Drupal, where even the contributors as well the community started growing towards Drupal for extending it and making it more robust and usable for whatever an installation that it required. Either it need to be a smaller content management system or for a solution for a large enterprise applications. If you look into the current states on a couple of years before, there were like a lot of users actively contributing, and we are also very proud that we are also being an active contributor to our Drupal community. We have a lot of folks who work tirelessly to contribute or to solve the bugs, coming up with the new features. So if you look into Drupal 6, which was one of the very important and very successful version of Drupal, which came end of life on Feb 24, 2016. And yes, and the Drupal 7, which is still in support because of its architecture. But if you look into Drupal 8, where the Drupal was supposed to rise, was supposed to, like, the community was supposed to bring it end of life because of its Symfony framework dependency. That is a primary reason, because the Drupal use Symfony application framework for its front interface. Unfortunately, like Symfony 3 like ends in their own support ends on November. So even since Drupal was using that, it was supposed to end its support. So that is being sorted out in Drupal 9. So that is very high, one of the very high important reason why all Drupal 8 websites are supposed to migrated to Drupal 9 in order to ensure the smooth flexibility, performance, as well as security of the application. So this is a very brief history how it started on 2000 and currently where we are standing in terms of Drupal versions. Yeah, thank you. And main very important factor when we talk about Drupal, because considering there are a lot of other content management systems available in our market and a lot of people adhere to it, but Drupal is considered as a very important and a top player in terms of enterprise application developments, because of a few features which we would like to share with our team who are all currently here. It's a robust content editor, and Drupal is constantly coming up with new features and adding a lot of integrations within the editor level. I'm sorry, is there any?
Go ahead, Sundar.
Yeah, okay. And the next very important feature that we consider Drupal's core is its workflow mechanism. Basically, with the option available in the admin interface, even an entry level or novice can get into the system and they can complete or set up their workflow mechanism with the ease of use with the way it is currently constructed. Or even we can make a complex workflow or a very simple workflow for content moderation within the department level or within a highly complex neural network level of implementations that can be done within easy administration, Drupal's backend administration. As well, if you look into Drupal, as I said, its core is constructed in a way of modular. It also it also give a very good platform for integrating through other technological implementation inside our Drupal, using Drupal as a core framework. That is one of the very good example that we can talk about is Symfony framework, where Symfony is also having ability to integrate with a lot of other JavaScript frameworks to make the application more smoother and more secure. And that is one of the very important core features that we can consider that is currently continued in Drupal 9 also. And Drupal, like where they took a very big leap in terms of a mobile first approach in Drupal 8, that was considered as a very major change, and it is getting continued in Drupal 9 as well. Where if you look into CMS available in the market now, we can probably say that Drupal is the very first content management system which made their admin interface completely mobile friendly, mobile first approach. So even not only the users, end users, but even the admin users are able to do all their activities from admin interface, whatever the administrative activities through their mobile devices, not depending on a big screens or desktop screens. They can do it more remotely and mobile friendly. Those are very important key features that we thought of share with you all. All these key features are even now continued in an extended way in Drupal 9. Okay, so as I said, considering with all other CMS platforms available in the market, why Drupal? A lot of this question will come into place when we try to go with or finalize with Drupal, where we cut shorted and we came up with the 4 very important reasons why Drupal 9 or why Drupal. Basically, benefits of being or creating a website with the Drupal is its strong community support. Over all these years, the community grew very strong and as well in a stable way. And the community is able to provide solution for any type of issue. When if you are developing a website and if you are in need of any development support, there is a community as well. There are a lot of providers. So service providers available each and every individual corner because of very strong approach done by Drupal, the top people, where the community is expanded pan world. Easily you can get help from any corner of the world for Drupal CMs. That is one of the very important feature or benefit that we can consider. As well, Drupal as a core does have its own limitations in terms of functionalities, but again, because of the contributed modules, where there are a lot of companies and a lot of individuals who really put a lot of hard work and they develop their applications, extend the core without touching core functionality. They give extended features in terms of making our Drupal website search in a better way, or making the image rendering process, image gallery process, to make that image gallery features or a search feature well needed, well suited for our requirements. So where the contributed modules get into place, they were able to develop without disturbing core and with extending the feature as how we needed, and which is available in the Drupal website, which we can make use of it. And the next other benefit is whatever the features that we have, it could be a rich feature and it would be it could look more professional. But When it comes to security, that plays a very key role in current content management world, where the Drupal 9 constantly provide their security updates in a turnaround period of within either 45 days period is what their average they have. Within 45 days, they usually come up with a security patch or security update, and ensuring that is properly visible in the admin interface. So if an admin directly gets into the admin platform, admin interface, they can evidently see if there is any security update, which we are not supposed to rely on any other third-party platforms or any other email mediums. Once when you get into an admin interface, you can get a clear picture what level of security secure your website is. That's one of the very important benefit that you can, which will keep your mind at peace. And the very another important biggest big feature is Google Tag Manager integration in Drupal. Obviously, we all have beautiful websites and better performing websites, but we just need to get more metric out of the website to know where exactly we need to tweak or what we need to do in order to make it more effective. So where Drupal understood that, and they give focus more towards Google Tag Manager implementation in Drupal. And we have a hands-on experience in doing that, and we have integrated that for our customers in from through multiple domains, and it was a very good. It was able to yield more result in terms of understanding about our website. So these are consolidated and in an high-level benefits that we thought of share with you all about Drupal. Okay. Yeah, so I was like really happy to share you all about the history of Drupal and advantage and benefits. Now Karthik will explain you all about the migration journey, how it is gonna go, and even about the future of Drupal, all those. Thank you all.
Thanks, Sundar. So yeah, this is Karthik here. So as I said, I'm one of the solution architects at the Drupal partners here. And so this webinar is kind of designed for both, Drupal site owners as well as Drupal developers or webmasters who are planning to do Drupal migration because it's nearing end of life. The Drupal 7 and 6 versions are nearing the end of life next year. So we have designed it in such a way it's useful for both of the audiences. And like the next couple of slides, I'm going to talk about how the migration journey, technically how we are doing the migration for Drupal 9 migrations. There are different ways, we can do Drupal migration from your older version like Drupal 6 or 7 to Drupal 9. The traditional approach, most of the the developers and companies follow is like they use modules like migrate. They take up a backup and use modules like migrate and upgrade and do the migration. The main drawback with that traditional approach is like when you use modules like migrate, all the unwanted fields that you have created on the Drupal 6 or 7 site will also be migrating to the new version of Drupal. This is an opportunity to clean up your website because Drupal 9 build is like building the website from the scratch. You are not, it's not a typical version upgrade. So whatever customizations that you have done or custom fields that you have created which are obsolete, you're not intended to move those components to the new website that you're building. And the second thing is like any customizations that you have done or any custom fields that you have created on the earlier versions of Drupal, with the traditional migrate modules, it has sometimes become, it will not recreate those modules. It will just create the Drupal core modules alone. So you have to do reverse engineering, find out where you have created the custom fields and what kind of logics goes into handling those custom fields. So you have to reverse engineer all those things and then work on the new Drupal 9 installation. That itself is a kind of a very difficult process. So we have kind of come up with a, we have broken down the traditional approach, and we have created a kind of a new migration journey, which we are going to share here today. That would be very useful for developers who are planning to do Drupal migration. So what we do is we basically take up a Drupal backup initially, and then we kind of do the basic configuration, do the Drupal 8 fresh installation, and then we do the basic configuration, content type creations, and custom field creations manually on the new Drupal 9 site first. And once we have done a set of a manual setup initially and set the background, then you use the export modules to export the content, uses, taxonomies, images from the older versions to the newer version. And for importing, we now, instead of using the export module or migrate module at the beginning of the migration process, after setting up the fresh installation, doing the field setup, doing the basic configuration, now we'll be using the migrate and migrate modules like migrate Drupal UI to perform the migration, to perform both the module migration as well as the content migration. And then we there are certain, we then started with the, once the basic Drupal core is set up, we'll go for the contributed modules. We will then go and check whether the contributed module that has been earlier used in the older versions have an equivalent kind of module on the Drupal 8 or 9 version. If they are not having an equivalent 8 or 9 version, we'll kind of do some research for alternate modules, or else we will try to custom build that functionality, discussing with the site features with the webmasters of the site owners. Okay, and then finally we'll go ahead and do the theme creation process, and then we'll create the views, blocks, and all the custom theme creation logics. During all the stages theme creation process, we take care of the SEO optimization, performance optimization, and then finally the final content is migrated and made live. So it's a kind of we have from the traditional approach, we have kind of modified things a bit here, modified the way that we are doing it. The process is at the beginning we are setting up and then doing the migrate, instead of doing the migrate at the beginning and then doing the setup at the after the migrate is done. So that has caused lots of headaches, and we have to do lots of reverse engineering. So that's the reason we came up with this approach, and we have been very successful with this approach. And we can also, if there are any developers wanted to know more about that, we can also walk you through the process in a later at a separate call. I'll pass here for a minute. If anyone has any questions, you can put the questions on the chat for us. Okay. So this is again related to the migration. So like, what can you migrate, right? So you can migrate everything from the Drupal older website, like starting from content, nodes, taxonomy, comments, all your content types, the users and roles and permissions, your web forms and web form contents. If you're running a poll, or if you're all the core custom fields that you have created, all the media files. So everything can be migrated. Include if you're running a Drupal website with an e-commerce setup inside that, you can migrate all your products, historical orders, catalog information, customer information. So you can do your configurations like tax, payment, shipping. Everything can be migrated into the Drupal 9, into the Drupal 8 site. Okay. So I have a question. So what is the time frame to migrate? So typically, it's a kind of it depends upon the complexity of modules that you have, complexity of customization that you have done, and also it depends upon the volume of data that we are that goes into the website, and it also depends upon the UI UX complexity. So we have to look into all those we have to consider all those factors when we do this migration or giving an estimation. So typically a migration process, a simple migration will take us somewhere around 2 months, but a complex migration depends upon the complexity. It might, it generally goes, depending upon the complexity. So the other question was, will I lose SEO meta tags if I migrate? So there is a possibility. See, there are the URLs are going to be changing, and there is a possibility, right? So if we are not doing proper migration, we might lose the SEO meta tag. So we have a certain process that needs to be followed when you perform these kind of migrations. We have certain things in the upcoming slides. We are planning to explain the SEO process, how we do. I will talk about more that in the upcoming slides. Another question is, do you have any resources for someone that is not familiar with Drupal but has tasked? Yeah, we can definitely help you, Copper. Like we have resources on our website, and if you wanted to have a quick 30 minutes discussion with our team can also walk you through the process. I mean, if you could put your email address on the chat, we can send you the resources through email. Okay, thank you. Sounds good. We'll send that. Yeah. Okay. So we talked. I mean, we have been talking many technical things here, about what is Drupal, and what they have done, the benefits between the previous versions and the current version, and how the typical migration process, and how we can improvise the migration process in terms of flexibility and timeline and everything. So there are also another important question, right? So when it comes to, especially with Drupal's or site owners, why do we need to do this migration? Is there any other alternative for us? Right, because sometimes people feel Drupal is tough to maintain. It needs a developer support at all the times. So it completely depends upon the business requirement of the website. Okay, so we have listed down some of the major CMSs that are heavily used in the internet. So the top 4 we have been listed, and we have explained, compared the features between Drupal and on the other platforms here. So I would I mean, can everyone go on mute? I'm sorry, I'm getting some feedback. Thanks. So the first thing is, like, when you consider a platform, you have to think about your business requirements, because what level of customizations that you're going to do, and who's the audience the website is intended for. And if the audience are going to be, what is the demographics, if they need more of mobile presence or desktop presence, or what is the typical audience that that you're going to use, and what is the navigation flow that you wanted to give to them, and what is the purpose of the website? Is that a catalog website, or it's going to have an e-commerce part added to it, or it's kind of a media website or educational website? So it completely depends upon the business requirement. That is how we have to choose a platform. And if someone is already in Drupal 6, if they really need to go to Drupal 9, that's again a question. So we have done lots of, our teams, experts like us, can evaluate and also give them the right platform to move it. Like, for example, right, the major reason or biggest advantages of Drupal is it's an highly secured platform, as Sendil was explaining in the previous slides. The second thing is, like, it has been heavily maintained by highly professional Drupal contributors, and it has got lots of modules, free modules available in the Drupal app market. So any functionalities that you can build outside the core functionality of Drupal, you would be having already pre-built free contributed module, which you can make use of it and build a website. And the scalability perspective, Drupal is enormous. I mean, it can handle n number of the volume of traffic that it can handle, and also the features that you can keep adding onto the website. There is no limits to it, and from the scalability perspective, definitely Drupal overcomes all the CMSs from the scalability perspective. And from the SEO aspect, the core Drupal module lacks certain SEO kind of efficiency, But there are other supporting Drupal modules or contributed modules that we will discuss few in this webinar itself. So that can be used to enhance your Drupal SEO capability as well. Okay, and also the user permissions and everything, the way you can make different roles and permissions inside the website, and the administrative capabilities very good from Drupal perspective. So those are the things that keeps Drupal one step ahead of all the other platforms in the market. But again, it doesn't mean that Drupal is the only platform that you can choose with. It, as I said earlier, depending upon the business requirement, we can find and choose the right platform, whether you need to move to Drupal 9 from Drupal 7, or if you wanted to go to a completely different platform like WordPress. Engineers can ask and can quickly do an audit and give the best recommendations there. Okay. Any questions there? I think I got one question here. Okay. Does my site needs to go through a downtime during the migration process? If yes, how long is it? So typically the process, what we follow, we are going to clone the existing website and create our own kind of a development setup, and we'll be working on that. The cloning process doesn't require the site to go down. So if a project is going to take 3 months, we are going to clone and work on the development environment. We are not going to touch the production environment during this development time frame. So your website will be up and running all the time when we are doing the development. The only time the website is going to be brought down is when everything is done, fully tested, the new version is up and running on the dev site, and we are ready to push it to live. We'll fix a date and we'll be pushing it to live, and that's the only time the site will be brought down. So probably, depending upon the size of the migration, it might take somewhere around 2 to 16 hours maximum. But typically on average, it's going to take 6 hours time frame. So that is the only time the website will be brought down for a migration process. Okay, thanks. Great questions. And the next thing what we are going to talk about is, to answer another question, modernization. So Drupal is, as Senthil was explaining, Drupal has started from the core Drupal 1.0, and now it's up to Drupal 9. And next year they're going to release, in December, they're going to release Drupal 10. They have been completely modernizing and evolving the platform to the basic trends and modern, web interfaces. So what you can expect on the newer versions of Drupal. So it is going to be highly responsive. And so when I say responsive, it can work on all devices with the different screen sizes, resolutions, especially mobile devices. Any website on a statistic says that there are 70% of users are mostly going to be mobile users. So any website that you're going to build, it has to be mobile friendly. So Drupal has inbuilt capability of making your website responsive. And the next important thing is microservices. Again, that's something not required for a smaller kind of a website. If a website has multiple features, and if those features or silos needs to run independently of based on each other's, they have to run as different separate silos, then microservices architecture would be a great benefit. So it is it's a kind of an architectural style where you create microservices patterns and replicate smaller applications into different silos and connect them as a single application. So instead of having one technology stack for the entire application, so you can create even multiple technology stack for different silos inside an application. So it is highly maintainable, testable, loosely coupled, and you can also independently deploy these silos separately. So it again depends upon whether you really need a kind of a microservices architecture pattern, but Drupal is offering that capability. So for highly scalable websites, when a website wanted to scale horizontally with different features, so then microservices would be a great fit to add to your technology stack on the Drupal side. And I've already talked about mobile friendliness and core Google's core web vitals. So performance is a key factor, right? So because all the websites has to be should be loading faster, both on mobile as well as on desktop. The study shows that if a website is taking more than 3 to 4 seconds to load, there is 20% of a chance for a customer to close the exit the window and move to a different website, or second that shows on the search engine. So typically you should make sure your website is loading faster, and Google uses a tool called Page Speed Insights and to measure the performance of your website. It gives a score on both mobile and desktop, and it also does a kind of a web vitals assessment, and it gives you a kind of a score and says that whether your website is passing or failing on the Google score web vitals assessment. It is very critical that you have to get a pass status there, because it's not only affecting the user experience, it is also affecting your SEO rankings. So Drupal has the capability to make your website load faster, and based on the theme that you have chosen, and the way you have put your HTML files, JavaScript files, and CSS files, the customizations that you have done, you can make use of Drupal's features to make sure that your website is passing on Google Core Web Vitals assessment. Okay. I'll just pass here for any questions here. That's good. I'll continue. And the next is web components. So for example, if some browser updates are coming, it doesn't need to affect your site functionality. So that can be done separately, and your site functionalities can be done separately. So that's another feature that they have been added. And they have created an admin interface which is having a streamlined UI, and where you can manage your content quickly and effectively, and you can do content moderations and everything much faster in the modern Drupal themes and in the Drupal 9 website. And Drupal 9 also comes with PWA capability. PWA stands for Progressive Web Apps. It's like making your website to behave like a mobile app, or giving a mobile app kind of experience to your customers. So it is another kind of technology where you can make you're not creating a mobile application. The website that you have on the web application, you give the provision for your customers to save them as their desktop icons, and when they click on it, your website will load from the browser, but still they can save that as an icon, as a mobile app kind of an icon on their website. And it has certain technical things we have to look after for converting a website into PWA friendly, but it's a highly kind of an effective feature, because you will be in constant touch with your customers. If someone is having an app on their website, so it means you can push some messages to them, like through push notifications. You doesn't need to send email outreaches. You can do direct push notifications to them. So it is very effective way, and it also makes your website load faster when it has a PWA capability. So those are the biggest advantages of PWA. So if you're running a magazine website, and if you're running a website that needs more repeated customers, so then PWA would be your choice, and Drupal kind of gives that capability for you to add PWA to your existing Drupal website. Okay. And the next big buzzword is headless Drupal. So headless Drupal is still evolving, but that's been in the future. That's what most of the internet is talking about. What is headless Drupal? Headless Drupal is like Drupal is basically a backend content, like a CMS, right? A content management system. When it comes to the front end, Drupal is the basic front end of Drupal is good. As I expand, it's still evolving. You have to do lots of customization to make it load faster, make the UI UX more responsive and all those things. It's not only in the case of Drupal. This is same for any CMS you take. The CMSs are most backend systems. and they have the front-end systems which are connected to which are inbuilt into the CMSs. But so the modern expectation from the customers or the modern technologies require more faster, front ends, and also the interface or the front end interface has to be working on different channels. So I mean, like, mobile is one channel. People are using Apple watches, and there are Google glasses. There are going to be more new front end devices and front end channels are going to come in the future. So the what does headless solve? This headless is kind of solving this problem. So you have the power of Drupal CMS on the back end, but the front end you can create a front end of your choice. You can use the kind of a JavaScript framework which is much faster, like Node.js, React.js, and create a front end out of it. Or you can create a completely different front end based on the device that you wanted to show, and then still you have the power of Drupal on the back end. So for doing that, Drupal is offering a complete API support. So with that API support, you can get all the data from the Drupal backend through the API. You can render through this API, and you can show it in a front end completely in a different technology stack outside Drupal. Okay, so that's going to be the future. But again, currently it's not required for all the websites. So we can evaluate the business requirements and see what the future is. And then if it's really required, we push our customers to the headless kind of a concept. Okay. Any questions there? Sounds good. So one last thing before we, does this mean CI/VI CRM on top of Drupal will work better? I don't know, like I need to check on this. I'm not sure on CI/VI CRM. Sendil, you have any idea about CI/VI CRM?
Yes, it is. Basically, Civic CRM, it's there in the market for a long time. Yes, we can seamlessly integrate Civic CRM along with Drupal. They both will work together. We can use Civic CRM's interface as well, and we can also use at some parts Drupal for storing its own data, or even the Drupal can be used as a front interface, and that can be integrated with.
Okay, sounds good. So the next thing is like, we talked about the security aspect of Drupal. So the most important thing when you have to do this kind of migration is SEO. So if you're not doing a proper SEO, optimization or SEO migration, there is a possibility once you have done the migration, your organic traffic might go down. So we have to be very careful on doing that. We have to properly set up tags. The URL structures have to be properly determined, and if there are any URL redirects, we have to do that properly. And also, like all the pages have to follow the basic schema setup for based on Google's best practices. And the tagging has to be properly transferred from your existing URLs to the new URLs. So everything has to be properly done. But if you there are also but if you do a good job there, you will see once you have been done the migration, slowly your SEO rankings will be going up. Okay, so that's a kind of a thing. And we also wanted to talk about certain modules that might be useful on the SEO side. We heavily use meta tag module, which lets you create and modify different metadata elements on your website. So using the meta tag module, you can easily modify your metadata elements. And we also recommend path auto module, which is again lets you automatically generate the URL or path aliases for different kinds of content. And there is also you have to make sure your sitemap.xml, robo.txt are properly set up. And there is a module called simple XML sitemap that basically allows you to automatically generate the XML sitemaps to your Drupal website whenever you make a URL change or something like that. It automatically generates the XML sitemaps on the backend. And obviously, Google Analytics module, most of you would be knowing it. So make sure that you set up and properly configure Google Analytics module so that you can start tracking your visitors' behaviors and interest within your website. And there is also an important module called redirect module. Like, for example, if Google is not going to like, spammy duplicate contents. So whenever you're creating a content in your website, and sometimes it might be a duplicate content in from your existing website itself. So at that point of time, using these kind of redirect modules will help you, in checking the URL implementations on permissions, and it will make sure that the redirects are properly done and you are not penalized from the Google side for duplicating the content. So those are some of the recommendations on the module side that we have, and Drupal has an enormous amount of SEO modules that you can make use of it to make your website fully SEO optimized. And you can also, talk to our team, or we can also audit your website and give our recommendations there based on your audience needs on the website. Okay. Having said that, we have come to the end of this webinar. So there is a complete guide on how to do Drupal 9 migration, step-by-step migration. It's a free ebook that we offer on the website. You can we'll also send you the link to that after this call when we send this presentation and recording. And we are also currently doing a free audit for all the Drupal older versions like Drupal 6, 7 or versions. And we can completely the auditors we can give you our recommendations, estimations on the next best choice. Either whether you wanted to move to Drupal 8 or going to a different platform altogether, or what it would take to do a complete Drupal 9 migration. So we can do a complete free audit and give our recommendations and thoughts on the path that you need to take if you're having a Drupal 6 or 7 site. Okay. Any questions? So Drupal 7's end of life is November 2023. It's not. It's next year, not this year. When redirects are created using the redirect module, does the default URL still exist? If you have the server still alive, if it's an existing URL in your website, or if you are completely, it's a best practice. You should not have the old URL, because Google again might confuse us. There should be one URL. If you're doing a URL redirect, you have to take out the old URL. Okay. Questions? Sounds good. You can shoot your questions to your friends at drupalpartners.com. We'll also be sending you the details of the free audit that we talked about, and you can register, and we can definitely do a audit and give our feedback and recommendations there. Thanks everyone for joining the webinar, and thanks Nash and Sindel for joining with us. Have a great day, and we'll meet you with another interesting webinar in the coming days. Thanks everyone.
Great to see everybody. Bye.
Thank you all. Have a great weekend ahead.